What's up? Sports Bag Bros back again. As you can see, Travis not here, but my homie Paul is here. He goes by different names: Ring Dragon, Lord. Uh, say what's up, brother.
What's going on, everybody? All right. Appreciate you having me, Brother Bias, man.
Of
Always love to chop
course,
it up boxing with y'all, man. I love it.
always. We're gonna talk more than boxing, but Ryan Garcia is in the news. You know what's going on with him. What are your thoughts?
I mean, to me, okay, and before I jump all the way in this man, because I obviously don't condone any of what he's been saying and some of the behavior. Um, I think a lot of times, man, what happens when you are young and wealthy and that immature, it's just you're just like a train wreck waiting to happen. You know what I mean? In one way or the other, you're gonna mess yourself up. I want to feel sorry for him because I don't. It doesn't look like he's got real people behind him to tell him to keep him on track. I saw an interview with his father saying that he doesn't even really speak to Ryan that much, and Ryan's just kind of off doing his own thing. So I think he's listening to suck ups and sycophants and brown nosers and users, and so he's just he's dismantling what really could have been a really lucrative career for him. I mean, he's taking it all apart between the PEDs and and look, I've drank and smoked and all that kind of stuff in my life. It doesn't cause you to turn into you don't turn into a bigot because of
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
some of those feelings, I think he probably already had some of those feelings, and it's
You had to.
what what disappoints me a lot is when I talk boxing online. There's a lot of tribalism between fans, and
No
when you're
doubt.
young, you get into some of this immature stuff when you're young, man. But like specifically when it comes to Black and brown Americans, we have too much in common to behave like this. There's just too much. Our histories are too similar. There's too many conservatives aiming policies at our communities and whatnot. It just if it not to get too historical, but the fact that Spanish was a language brought to the Americas from the Spaniards, so that's not even the natural language. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the same. There are a
I
lot
feel
of
you.
there's a lot of history that we share together as people who have had colonization affected our populations and stuff, and there's just no room for it, man. If you live long enough, you've met a jerk of every kind. I know plenty of Black people that I don't like. I met plenty of Hispanic people I don't like. There's people of all kinds, but I don't like them because I don't like them. It has nothing to
Right,
do with
right,
what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with
right.
who their parents were. And I think Ryan is really, really ruining what could have been a fruitful career, certainly a lucrative career. I don't know what he's going to do with himself. Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
I think you touched on it. You mentioned he's you've done this, you've done that, and I've done my share of things as well.
Yeah,
And if it's not in you, it's not going to come out.
that's right.
If
Right.
if you don't already feel that way, it doesn't just get created. Oh, I'm in a bad mood now. Fuck this guy. Fuck
Mhm.
that guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that.
And,
You
and,
have to harbor those feelings already.
and to say something as I mean, there's one thing if you're making jokes that are, you tell everybody has told a joke that may have an undertone, but I'm talking about when you say something like "bring a man back to life so you can get rid of him again." I mean, that's well beyond
That's sick.
anything. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Oh my God, my kids keep trying to call. You know what? They're gonna say hello to you real quick because they're blowing the phone up. Yes, son. What's up, buddy? You want to say hello? Because we're on the air on a show. You want to say hello?
Is that Sheer or Yugen?
Is it? I
How
think
you
that's
doing,
shit.
buddy?
You gotta say it loud, brother.
What's up?
uh,
What's up, buddy?
okay. Can I call you when I finish this? All right. I love you. Bye. Yeah, they're granddad's house, so I could tell they're starting to get a little bit bored because he called like 3 times in a row. I was like, all right, let me just answer this because he's not gonna stop until
no problem.
They're at that age where I'm the only phone number they know, pretty much. So you want to call the phone number, I'm it. I'm it. But yeah, man. Yeah, it's I don't know what he's gonna do with himself. I don't know what I mean, I guess with this suspension, he's got plenty of time to figure it out. He got like a year to.
Yeah, but like, how does he come back from this? Because, like saying F and enters,
Yeah,
F
yeah.
F that. I mean that's straight up racist.
It's
A- and then to go as far as saying let's bring George Floyd back so
that's
we can kill him again.
that's
That's
insane.
yeah, that's crazy talk.
That's insane, man. I
Like
mean,
that
uh,
that would be something you would expect like from the Grand Wizard at a KKK rally.
right. I mean, it takes that level of hate.
Right.
And I don't know whether he's trying to. And again, I'm not trying to give him cut cards, but I'm trying to really understand where his mind is, man. Like, are you showing off for somebody, or what? I don't really understand. The other thing I was thinking about, and I saw somebody online was touching on this. Is this going to affect his relationship with Derek James? Derek James may decide he doesn't want to work with him anymore. That kind of thing. Where do you go? And I mean, I don't even know that. I don't know who would want to work with you. I mean, there's plenty of good Mexican trainers who still may not want to touch you with this kind of shit, man.
They may want him to get a psych evaluation, or like, why would they want to get involved with that and be attached to him?
Yeah, and I mean, it coming on the heels of missing weight on purpose, then with the PED findings, and then this, even after the year suspension, it's gonna kind of be like, who wants to take a chance on this kid? Like, you're that's a loose cannon. Leading up to, all right, I know you probably heard some crazy theories leading up to this, but I had a guy, and he's a friend of mine and whatnot. He actually used to box too, so I respect his opinion wholeheartedly. But suggesting that Ryan had messed up the odds for the gambling and everything, so there was a big movement to retaliate against him with all of his behavior leading up to it, where people didn't think that he was going to either show up or he wasn't going to be in shape, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a little far-fetched, but who is going to gamble on him in terms of network, in terms of training? He's kind of like a loose cannon. You can't predict how he's going to behave.
Right. And then if he ever does want to box, because he's talked about acting or whatever, if he does come back to boxing, is his opponent going to allow for anything? If he comes in 2 pounds overweight, go sweat it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And look, and with the time off, Canelo has said on record that Ryan was not necessarily a hard worker in the gym. Is he going to come back and be at what, 54? 47, 54? I mean,
right.
He was already talking about going up to 47. I don't think the man likes to work hard particularly, but you start getting up to 54, those are bigger guys, man. That's not 35 and 40. Those are big guys, man. I mean, you got guys like Jared Hurd making 54 some crazy way. I don't know what's going on with the Charlos. Speaking of folks,
plus the smaller gloves at that level.
That's a problem, man. I mean, he may have really put himself in a bad way, man. I think when he looks back on his life and his career, he's gonna have some big regrets. He's starting to remind me, and not to this degree, but Chavez Jr. in just your behavior, your the spoiled way you're behaving. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's mad. You have the world handed to you. All you got to do is train and do your thing. And man.
Yeah, I chuckle because I used to tell Trav, Chavez Jr. is the most, how did I phrase it? He posts the most videos of him working out.
Right.
But he doesn't actually work out.
Right.
Right. He shows a 10-second clip where it looks like he's working hard, and then he struggles to make weight.
I don't think he has any intention. I mean,
right.
The coming down in the middle of the evening in pink Speedos eating cereal,
yeah.
Like, just it's crazy, and I don't know if I'm thinking right now. It's got me thinking to other sons of champions.
Did he think he was Hugh Hefner or somebody?
I don't know but it reminds me of Camacho Jr. too. I was a big listen. I liked Camacho Jr. at the time when 140, when Costa Zoo and Sean Bay Mitchell and Zab Judah. I thought Camacho Jr. had a chance to be somebody at that time. But I think the same kind of, you already kind of got the world. You don't really need to work hard. You don't really need to try. And I think that messed with his career too. And Ryan doesn't even have a rich father, but he's rich so early and popular so early that I just feel like, and I'm gonna sound like an old man when I say this, man, but a lot of these kids these days, everything is at their fingertips, brother. They have microwaves and Google and everything's on your phone. You don't want to work hard for anything. You really don't want to try. And that's a general statement, I realize, but I think it does affect guys like a Ryan Garcia. Shakur Stevenson too, with the Twitter fingers and stuff. It's just a different culture, man. And I don't think it's good for some of these athletes if they don't have the right people behind them to keep them on track. And Ryan, he may have really, what do they say, dropped the bag, as they say. Like I think he's ruined some situations. He's still going to be able to make some money. Somebody's going to take a shot, but I want to see how this works out. It might be somebody who doesn't have any scruples either, like Eddie Hearn. It'll probably be somebody like Eddie Hearn. Eddie would do business with anybody. He doesn't. Eddie doesn't care.
White, maybe he'll fight Nate Diaz or something.
Wow.
I don't know, but
I don't know either, man.
Yeah, I'm also thinking it could be a cry for help. Like he talks about having mental issues.
Yeah, well, he's
not. What drives me crazy is he'll say this and this happened, and I have proof.
Right.
I'm going to expose this person. I'm going to expose that. He ain't exposed jack shit yet. He's been talking for like close to a year. He's exposing people.
And then did you see supposedly or allegedly, I'll say those things, but he had it looked like almost a domestic violence situation at a person he had a relationships with, how he was in there knocking stuff over and breaking things and acting crazy.
I did see that, yeah.
So like I don't it makes me think again when you're young. So what is he, 25, 24, right around there? You're at the peak of your powers. You got your whole life ahead of you. You feel invulnerable and just immortal almost. You're rich. No one can really tell you what to do. And he's going to end up, he might even end up getting himself in jail if he keeps behaving this way. You know what I mean? And then you're really going to fuck your career up. I mean, at this point, you got to hope that maybe it's just a PR person to try to ease back on some of the racial comments and then try to get through this suspension. But if he's going to keep behaving like this, man, I don't even know if he's going to be around to have to worry about it, man. He might really get himself locked up. Yeah,
and if he is on something, he might go down a dark path and find himself in somewhere where he shouldn't be.
It's unfortunate, man, because I mean, there's so much money, and I know everything ain't about money, but God, there's so much to be made for a guy like him. For a guy like him, if you're checking all the boxes in terms of, you got the teeny bopper girls, you like the heartthrob for them. You clearly have a good left hook. We know all of that. You came off of the biggest win of your career, and you've just loused all that stuff up, man. You've put a stamp of stink on all of it. Everything he's done, he's tried to break down. So I don't know, man. I mean, I am curious to see what happens just for the sake of see what happens. But
it's just so strange because other people have gotten popped. They take their suspension, they go away, they stay quiet.
Right.
They don't want their name in the news anymore. They just want to. They come back when it's time.
Right.
Not him. He wants to stay in the public eye. He wants to stay in the news, and it keeps getting worse and worse.
Worse and worse, man. For all the wrong reasons, he's in the news. Like you said, like there's guys that have had multiple suspensions, and they're still, they do their time and they come back. I mean, Big Baby Miller, has got hemmed up, and Connor Ben, and but these guys are still positioning to try to fight. This guy is just. He was at the comedy club or something. He was at trying to do some improv.
Oh yeah, he was trying to be a comedian. Yes, I saw that.
There's nobody reeling him in, man. There's nobody that can tell him what to do. And I think in situations like that, it's going to cause him to have to crash and burn himself and really ruin some situations for himself before he gets it together. if he gets it together.
And
This is a shame.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna blame the Illuminati or whoever. You know what I'm saying? They're out to get me.
Right. Look, it's he won't be the first boxer that's ended up behind bars, man. I mean, it gets to a place where it doesn't matter how much money you make Vegas. If they lock Tyson up, they'll lock you up, Ryan Garcia.
Oh hell yeah! Well, Tyson came to Indiana. Come on.
Yeah, well,
he might have got, if it was Atlanta or Miami, he might have gotten away with it. But
in Vegas, I'm sure he would have. But yeah, I mean, it's just it sucks. I mean, and I'm not even necessarily a Ryan Garcia fan like that, but I love boxing, so even it's good to even have people around that you don't like, just to there's football teams I don't like. It makes a sport more exciting when there's somebody to root against. But he may not even be in a position to even be that. I mean, and I don't know, what does that do to Golden Boy? What does that do to them? I mean, their roster is not it's not a thick roster.
And you think, well, maybe somebody at Golden Boy can be a mentor or role model.
Yeah, but
De La Hoya's got his own issues.
Right.
So it can't be Oscar.
Yeah,
maybe
it cannot
Bernard Hopkins. Does he want to listen to Bernard Hopkins? I don't know.
Is Shane Mosley affiliated with them anymore? Because I haven't seen
think him and Oscar are at odds now.
It wouldn't surprise me, man. I mean, I think Oscar's another kind of shining example of he's doing his burnout has happened after his career. You know what I'm saying? Ryan is burning out in the middle of his career.
Yeah.
But I don't even think look, and this is I can't afford to be sued. I'm just talking about my own personal experiences in life and my own personal exposure to people who do recreational drugs and alcohol. It looks and appears like Oscar is still doing these things himself. He still behaves in a way that I've been to plenty of clubs and plenty of bars. I was a bartender for years. I know all I can say is that it reminds me of behavior that I've seen before of people who have still been dibbling and dabbling. So yeah, you're right. I don't think Oscar is the guy, for that. I don't know who would be. It would have to be somebody no nonsense. He'd have to move to like Mexico and go train with Nacho Berenstain or something. Like it would have to be somewhere where you can't play games anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, he kind of tried that, joining Canelo's team. So that didn't work out.
I mean, it didn't want to work. Well, I think he wanted to be the guy, and you're not going to be able to be the guy until Canelo's done. So you have to be the second guy.
Well, moving on. I mean, he obviously needs help, man. I hope he gets it. But as far as his racial comments, man, I do not condone that
at all.
And that's why the title of this video is "Fuck Ryan Garcia."
You get one of those. Get your life together. Get your life together, Ryan.
Right. Well, you mentioned Shakur earlier. What do you think is going to happen with him? He's a free agent now.
So he's another dude, man, that keeps. Oh man, like I don't know who's around him. At one point, I know he was close with Andre Ward, and I mean I thought Andre was still at the fight because they showed everybody damn near sleep in the stand, damn blood sleep. But he's got to somebody's got to handle his social media accounts and get him off of there, because it would be one thing, Bias, if the dude, say you struggle or you're just not necessarily, a big offensive fighter, that's one thing. But when you talk the way he talks on social media and then you pitch those kinds of performances, I think that's what's got people not wanting to really see him. Like I personally, there are guys that were just technicians and defensive fighters. Like I don't mind watching. I'll watch a Rigondeaux fight. I like different types of boxers for different reasons. But he's not online talking crazy the way Shakur Stevenson talks. I'm going to do this and that, and you just constantly. It's too much. Maybe it's some young guy stuff. Maybe I'm just old, but that just sounds. It's a lot of talk.
Well, I don't know if he started it, but I know Garcia tweeted at him, and then he went back at Garcia, and
but
now they got Twitter beef.
He stays talking though. He talks a lot. It's a lot of.
He replies because I thought he was gonna trash Haney after Garcia.
Yeah.
After Garcia knocked him out or beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But because after Shakur's previous fight,
Mhm.
Haney was like, I should have offered you 10% instead of 25.
Yeah,
That was a trash performance. So Haney went in on him. So I thought Shakur was gonna be like, well, at least I won, or you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
yeah,
all he said was something like, I wish him well. I'm not that guy that comes in and kicks people when they're down.
yeah, yeah.
But after he fights, people always come at him and he's always responding.
You know what? He and hindsight's 2020 for everybody. And I know I certainly have made all the best decisions I could in my life. But looking at it now, uh he had the opportunity to have all the belts at 135, and he could have fought Frank Martin. The shine could be on his name right now, and it's not. And he's kind of made decisions that have done that to himself. Now I don't know if Aaron would have been down to let those fights happen or not, but it seemed to be with Shakur talking in the in the media and talking to social media as much as he was, that he's the one that did not want to take the Devin or the Frank Martin financial terms for those fights. And looking at it now, it looks bad because he's in a bad way right now. His stock is low. People are not excited to see him fight. Your own mentors were literally falling asleep in the stands. That's terrible, whoever took that picture, but they got him. I don't know what he's going to do, man. He's. I was suggesting the other day, he needs a fight that's going to validate him. He needs to beat somebody like a Pitbull Cruz, somebody that's seen as tough, especially coming off of. He's been looking good and dominant.
Right.
He needs something where the people are going to be like, okay, you know what? He is good. He just had a couple of bad nights. But if he keeps doing this shit, man, I don't know where he's going to go.
But of all the guys around him, I think Pitbull's the only one that will fight him too right now.
Pitbull is not scared of that. Looking at that,
Tank's not gonna fight him.
Mm-mm.
They'll come up with excuses. Oh, it's not a big enough name or whatever.
Right.
But then he'll go and fight somebody else who's not even half the name.
Yeah.
And then Haney, he's got to recover from his knockout.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna fuck with Shakur. But Pitbull, to me, he'll step in with anybody. Yeah, I'll fight you.
I think that's the best because it's looking like, I mean, the murmurs are that this Lomachenko Tank thing is going to happen in November, which me personally, I'm happy about that because however we want to view this stage of a career that Lomachenko's in, if we wait any further, we're never going to see it at all. So I'll take it now rather than never see it at all. And that leaves who for Shakur? Like of any real
I don't think Teal will fight him neither.
And I don't know if he's scared to get hit at 35, then 40, you don't want to get hit by Teofimo either. Because he's at 40. So I don't know what
his power hasn't really carried to 40 though.
Nah. Well,
he's not the knockout puncher he was below.
Nah, but I think he's still a formidable player. If you're worried about what guys like De Los Santos is doing, you're gonna have to worry about what Teal is doing too,
Yeah, I mean, but look at Teal's last fight. He wasn't all that impressive neither.
He's a real, what? And I hate to say this, but I was a Redskins fan for many years. You don't know what we're gonna do when we come to when we get on the field. You don't know, dog. One of the first years that that Brady and them won the Super Bowl, we beat them. We're one of the only people that beat them that year, and nobody would have bet money on that. Us, the Redskins, would beat them, and then they go beat everybody else. Like, it's a ridiculous. Meanwhile, the Redskins will come in there and lose to the Cardinals or something crazy. So Teofimo's like that. You don't know what Teofimo Lopez is going to enter the ring. And so it's really hard to even bank on. Maybe he's a guy that fights up to or down to the opponents. I'm gonna go ahead and give him that, and maybe that's the case. But I think he'd get up for a Shakur Stevenson fight. I think he'd get up for that. I don't know. I don't even know promotionally where Shakur is going to go. Who's even going to?
Well, he's a free agent. He's got to sign with someone.
I think Aaron was offering $15 million for 5 fights.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. He did not do himself any favors in putting himself back on the market to see who's going to be shopping around with those last 2 performances, man. I don't know who's going to be looking to pay top dollar for that. So these young guys, man, I don't know what they're doing. I think when you look at careers that have come before, it looks easy. I think when they see guys like Floyd, and people like to blame a lot of shit on Floyd, but Floyd fought. He fought at the stages of careers that these guys are at. He's fighting good people. Maybe at the tail end, people can talk some things, but I don't know. I don't know what's in their heads, and I don't know who they're talking to, man. But
yeah, well, I told Trav I was a Pretty Boy fan, but not a Money Mayweather fan.
I mean, it's funny in terms of I like them both because I really do like to learn every time that I watch, and I learned a lot watching Floyd. It's the Floyd outside of the ring that I don't care for, but Floyd in the ring I don't have that much of an issue with. Early in his career is really the when people complain about who they wanted to see him fight. There was people early when he was light that I wanted to see. I wanted to see Eric Morales and Nassim and Casamayor and Freitas. I want to see those kinds of fights. But once it got up to 47, I mean, I felt like he was doing the stuff that I primarily wanted him to do. There wasn't much else that I needed for him to do that he wasn't doing. I mean, we could have had the Pacquiao fight years earlier. People complained about that, but whatever. What happened was going to happen.
I mean, it was at least 5 years too late, though. That's the thing about the Pacquiao fight.
Yeah, but I mean, Floyd's older than him, so it wasn't. I felt like they both.
But it was like Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez. Oh, you know what? Let's start negotiating.
Yeah.
And before that, he was caught saying he's on drugs, and
I think he was. I do think he was. I do think he was. When I saw
he might have been, but there's never been any proof.
Yeah, well,
I think Pacquiao sued him.
Floyd's going to take the same test though. So like we should have for that kind of money. Look, man. I mean, and I'm speaking from a guy who has to work all the time. These people are millionaires, zillionaire, quazillionaire, whatever. For that kind of money, I'd fight anybody. Anybody. Come on, for that kind of. That was at that point that it was such an exorbitant amount of money, and the whole world is watching. Man, just take the test. And look at where we are now, where all these guys are still popping dirty. I feel like in retrospect, Floyd was on to something because there's a lot of guys still popping. But I don't know, man. I mean, I at the end of the day, I just want to see the good fights. It doesn't even matter who I like or who I don't like or any of it. I just want to see the good ones, man. Like with the whole stuff with Tank and Shakur and Devin, I don't care who does what. Just fight. We can round robin. Yeah,
fight each other, right?
Come on, man. Look, we're gonna throw some stuff on the grill and let's make it a night. That's all I want to see. Oh, speaking of which, one of my good buddies, Kwame Ritter, is on the Jaron Ennis card on Saturday. So I just want to give my brother a shout out, man. I've got to spar this man, and he lumped me up pretty good. He's nice, man. He's nice. He's light heavyweight, and he's gonna be fighting on the card. So I just want to make sure.
What's his record?
What is Kwame's record? I think he's only lost one, and from what I understand, he was not the house guy that night. You know what I mean? So,
I'm just trying to get a gauge like how far along in his career.
I wish I knew off the break, man. I feel like because he owns his own gym in Columbia too, so he juggles training folks and in his own career and stuff. So he probably should be a little further along, but he's been doing a lot. Like I said, even he's kind of like my big little brother. He's bigger than me, but I'm older than him. I've just been admiring him. We met working at a boxing gym in Columbia some years back. So I'm hoping he does well. I'm gonna be really rooting for him. So I want to. Yeah, I didn't want to. I want to make sure I didn't forget to say this before we moved on.
So Trav and I were talking last week on the Canelo September sweepstakes.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing it's going to be Berlanga. Who do you think it's going to be?
I mean, I've been hearing shit about Eubank Jr., who I like, but I don't like for that. I don't like him for that. Matter of fact, let Eubank fight Berlanga. I'll watch that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm like, well, shit. I wasn't happy about Berlanga, but now you mentioned Eubank. Give me Berlanga.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see either one of those. I'm so, and me and you we might as well be identical twins with our frustration with Canelo, man. Like, and if I say this, there's gonna be people like, "Oh, what do you mean?" But I still think there's wasted potential. He's big. He could be even bigger if he handled the last 6-7 years of his career differently. Like, I've had more faith in Canelo than I think Canelo has had in Canelo. Like, he waited around to fight Triple G when I thought he could have beat Triple G, and I still thought he was better in the first and second fight than Triple G. I wanted to fight the Charlos and Andre when they were at 54 and 60. Like
when they're at the same weight, not
and now
up 2 weight classes.
Berlanga's not ready for this, man. He's not ready for this. He's probably ready for that check, but he's not ready. He's gonna get whooped. He's gonna get tuned up, man. That's look.
I mean, I told Trav there's at least 5 better fights.
Yeah.
Better be a Bivol rematch, of course. Benavidez, David Morrell, and Bud Crawford. Like Berlanga might have a better shot than Bud Crawford, but Bud Crawford's still a better fight.
Right. I mean, that's definitely, you're going to get paid for it. The curiosity is going to be there. He's got the name and the pedigree where people are going to watch that. I don't want to see it only because I don't like the Sprite remix fights too much, man. Because if you're not going to continue to campaign at a place, I don't really like it too much. And when you have the Benavidez fight will sell out. Put that in Texas Stadium. Everybody and their mother's going to buy a ticket to that. We're all going to buy the pay-per-views. I don't even think too many people are going to stream that because you're going to want the real shit for that. That's a historic night of boxing, no matter what happens. I was going to say I don't know why he's doing this, but I do know why he's doing this. You don't want to. If you could fight a Berlanga for $30 million, why would you fight, Benavidez for 40 or whatever? You know what I mean? But it's a shame, dog. It's a crying shame. I think Beterbiev will run him over, and I don't think he's going to.
Oh yeah, that's what. I mean, it's a better fight, but he would never fight Beterbiev. That's too dangerous.
I would have to reverse everything I've said about him for a long time if he took that fight. Like that means you're just a madman. You're a crazy guy. Because if you don't want to fight Benavidez, but you'll fight Beterbiev, that doesn't add up.
Right, but it would be a better fight.
I'll be there. I would watch that. Now that I would watch. The Bivol rematch, I would watch it, but what weight class would that happen? 68 or 75?
Well, he wanted the rematch at 75. Bivol wanted at 68 because he wanted all the belts. Just prove. But as soon as Canelo said same terms as the first fight, to me that's code for I don't want the rematch because you lost the first fight. How are you going to give him the same terms? You got to give up something. Yeah, like if you want your get back, you got to give something up.
Of course,
you're not going to enforce the same terms. That's ridiculous.
When Zab Judah lost to Corey Spinks, he took short money, fought in St. Louis in order to get those belts back, and that's what you do. That's how you behave. Or even if somebody said you had a tough assignment and you got like a lot of folks felt like it was controversial when Ward beat Kovalev, you run it right back. Canelo just is another case of a guy that just gets to do whatever he wants to do. And it's not, I realize these guys put their lives on the line, but there's a relationship between, say, us, for example, we buy the pay-per-views. There's a relationship between us and what they do in the ring. Come on. I mean, there's got to be some sense of obligation, or at least for your own legacy. Like, I hate the argument, and you probably heard this, but folks argue people's accomplishments without telling you who it was they accomplished it against. If you could be like, oh, well, Bias he's the WBC champion. All right, well, did he fight a vacant title for some guy that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a different accomplishment when it's just like the same belt that Benavidez had. He could have fought Benavidez for that belt, but he waited till he got stripped, and then what was it? Was that the cat that he was punching in the arm? What's the Bama's name? I forget his name. Jesus Christ. Either way, that was David Benavidez's title, but he did not fight Benavidez for that title. So it's I'm so disheartened with that guy. I wanted to at the time I liked Canelo. There was a time I really liked him, but I don't like the behavior. I don't like the Canelo business. I like the Canelo fighter, but I don't like the Canelo business. I don't know what the hell he's going to do either, man. I'll watch the Crawford thing, but I don't want to see that. It's kind of like lose-lose.
And that's why Canelo won't fight him.
Yeah.
Because if he lost to him, like I told Trav, if somehow Bud just boxed the shit out of him, busted him up, that would make my fucking year.
Yeah, I mean,
That would make my whole fucking year.
it would be what they call just desserts. Like that would be the stuff that you brought that on yourself. But I mean, you got to do something. Berlanga's not the move, man. That's not the move. That's if he just doesn't want to. Like my advice or my preference. I
Like,
wish
is he on a going away tour? Like, I can understand that. You know what, guys? I'm giving up the belts. I'm just going to go on a goodbye tour.
Well, just
Then you fight whoever the fuck you want. But
do exhibitions.
you got the belts.
Do what Floyd does.
Real challengers.
Do exhibitions. You can start doing what Jake. Well, you can fight Jake Paul and fight MMA fighters and whatnot. You can spar Mike Tyson if you want to. You know what I mean? You can do all that and just let us hardcore boxing fans have our sport back. You can't hold all the belts hostage like that, man. That's just not. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the other fighters who have worked hard and they don't get paid anywhere near the money. It's just not fair, man. It's not.
And the politics are bogus as hell too. Yeah. Usyk just beat Fury. He already got stripped.
That's
Canelo. I don't know if he's fought any of his mandatories, and he still has the belts.
And look, he'll fight a mandatory when it's like something that the mandatory isn't even up. Like that Yildirim fight, he was asking for Yildirim before the pandemic. Like, you know what's crazy too is that younger fans these days seem to. So they don't got to jump down my throat. I said seem to. All I can talk about is what I experienced. But folks defend a lot of stuff that feel like back in our day that would have flown, man. You get a lot more grief for not fighting the people that everybody wants to see. I don't know what Canelo's made of, man. I don't know why he does this. Just throw us a bone. You're almost done. Or like I said, just retire and let it be, it'll be Benavidez versus Morrell. That's a good fight. I want to see that. But those guys deserve, Benavidez he's earned a shot at the payday that Canelo provides, and it's not fair. It's frustrating, man. Fans get upset with guys that try to give us the best fights. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like Devin Haney, but it felt like he was trying to fight people. You're trying to fight folks. People didn't like Deontay Wilder, but I felt like he was trying. He wanted to fight Joshua. I felt like that to me. Errol Spence wanted to. It feels like fans are giving shit to the guys that really want to make fights, and then we excuse guys that don't want to really make fights.
For some reason, the zero has become more important than most things, I think.
It's crazy.
So, like, you talk about Wilder wanting to fight Joshua. That didn't happen. So he fought Fury 3 times.
Right.
And he lost all 3 times. But, man, those were wars.
And it's history.
If you don't have respect for Deontay Wilder, I don't care that he lost the last 2.
Right.
And basically lost the first one, too. But, man, he was taking an ass whooping. And he still dropped Fury.
Yeah. Yeah. And came back for more. Look, he forced it to go to court to get another one. I want more.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't be mad at those kinds of guys, guys that you got to wait years and years and years to get them in the ring.
To your point, older guys, I think, for the most part, guys like you and me who've been watching boxing for a long time, we will respect that.
Of course.
But other guys who are Johnny-come-latelys or not, younger generation, oh man, he ain't shit. He lost 3 times. He got his ass beat. There's no respect for him.
Well, and that's where you can tell that these guys don't. When I was younger, I had some more immature ideas too, because that's what part of maturity is. But you've been watching this sport for 20, 30, 40 years. You learn to just sit back and appreciate the fights, man. Just appreciate the fights. There are certain nights that I know there are certain fights, if I say that, you'll remember where you were and what you were doing and who you were with the night you saw that fight. That's what boxing gives us, man. And I just want those kinds of nights. Whoever wins, wins. I'm not in the ring. We still got to go to work on Monday. So it doesn't change our lives other than it gives us something to be excited about on the lead up and then maybe a rematch and that kind of thing. Like, I think that's the part that's missed, man. These guys are still making millions of dollars. A lot of people blame it on Floyd Mayweather, but you can't. Look, there were guys in high school who were like, you're super fast and you play this sport or you whatever. I have to be me. I can't be them. You can't be Floyd. You got to do your own thing. Oscar was Oscar. Fernando was Fernando. Like, you got to be your own guy and do your own thing and make from that what you can make it. But you got to get in there. No matter what, you got to get in the ring. Like you said, respect comes no matter what. People respected Evander Holyfield, and he's lost fights. People respected Sean Porter, and he's lost fights. There's people that love the Toro Gotti, and he's lost plenty of fights. Yeah, dude.
Those guys, they went out on their shield. They gave everything they had. You can tell they weren't the most talented. They weren't the most powerful, the quickest, the most athletic, whatever you want to say.
Right.
But they fought their asses off every time.
That's all you can. At the end of the day, look, when I tell my students, man, you can win like a loser and you can lose like a winner. You know what I mean? It's about your character. It's about who you. At the end of the day, you're gonna have respect. And when these fighters are going up for Hall of Fame weekends and whatnot, the reception of not just the fans, but of their fellow fighters and the other trainers and people that saw your career, they're going to treat you a certain way for the rest of your days. And some of these other guys are going to live with a regret, and you can't turn the clock back. You'll have made choices that you can't go back on, and now what have we got? Just, I wish I could have, woulda, coulda, shoulda. So it's. I feel like Canelo's going to have some of that. Now, he's so rich, he probably won't care that much. But there are some guys that are going to wish they did some things differently, man. Ryan Garcia is going to be one of those guys. Shakur looking like he's going to be one of those guys. Matter of fact, speaking of that, I don't know what Devin Haney's going to do moving forward. He might be. I don't know, man.
I think because of the whooping he took, he's got to be careful about coming back too soon.
Yeah,
he's got to take off a good amount of time. Make sure he comes back properly.
Yeah, and a good comeback fight, like don't just jump right back out there. I mean, I respect guys that do that because Errol's the kind of guy to do that. Tito was the kind of guy to do that. I respect it, but that's a dangerous game you're playing. And he's young. He's young, man. This is not a guy that was at the end of his career. I mean, he's what, 26 or something like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I want him out.
Man, the crazy thing about that fight, and I know it was a while ago, no need to rehash it, but I don't know what, like something was wrong with Haney. Usually he's jab strong and he controls distance. There was none of that night.
You know what? I feel like some of these guys get caught up in trying to live up to things that they say. But the other thing is he got buzzed by a left hook early that did not put him down, but it buzzed him early. And I think that might have thrown a lot of shit off. And it was frustrating watching because from that very first hook, he was like, oh shit, because you never know what's going on in the person's mind. But I could tell that was closer to the line than he wanted to be that quick. But Haney was starting to put together and mount some offense because I forget who was over here, but I was saying Ryan's starting to get tired, and he was starting to get tired. But then that hook landed, and now it's just Haney trying to collect himself all night, and the hook kept landing. That was some Tito. That was some Tito shit, man. With the hook just keeps just smashing down the party, man. I don't know. I don't know either, man. I mean, do you think maybe he struggled a little bit with the weight?
Haney?
Yeah, because it looked like they both were sucked dry a little bit.
I don't know, man. I don't remember what he weighed in that. Like, was it 139 and a half or 139? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't remember specifically, but he's got a bigger frame, and I remember moving up as he moved away from 35. This dude has been putting on more muscle. Like seeing him between fights, he looks like a big dude. Like he doesn't look like Floyd never looked big. Floyd never looked big ever. He never looked like you see him and be like, that's an opposing figure. He never looked big, but Haney looked a lot more muscular, and maybe, I don't know. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to understand because he didn't look as sharp as I've seen him before, but it could have been maybe that first left hook just.
You're right. Yeah, that's true.
Mess with some wiring.
Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. So.
Look, the first Tito and Fernando Vargas, and I was a big Fernando Vargas fan. The first round, I was like, oh my God. I got all my friends over. We got pizza and chips out. I was like, I know the night isn't over already. So
Right.
sometimes you can get caught in that first round and it just messes up everything, man. It took everything from Fernando to get himself back together to get back in that fight, and then went to the cup and all that. But anyway, I feel like a similar thing happened.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, because that, look, you do what you got to do to win fights, and I mean, it's obviously spilled milk at this point. With his sons are fighting now. Oh, speaking of which, he beat Ryan Garcia's brother, who
His
came in
little brother Sean. Yeah.
3 pounds overweight also.
Yeah,
And
we talked about that.
Ryan got kicked out of the arena.
Arena. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what he was doing. And then there's a video where he's talking to his brother Sean about the fight, and Sean's saying something. He's like, "Bro, you got your ass beat." Like,
he said that to his brother.
Like Sean didn't even Sean doesn't know they stopped the fight and he got dropped.
Wow.
like he's going in on his brother.
Wow. And especially like where anybody else can hear that. Maybe you do that like on the phone or when you guys are at home and you're having breakfast and you're just talking shit. But goddamn, man,
like if Sean was like, "Man, if I'd have done this, I had him," or if I'd have done that, and then he gave him a reality check. Yeah. But that's not how the conversation was going.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You got to be supportive. Like I have a brother, but I didn't know that until like 10 years ago. And I'm significantly older. But if I had one, the way my kids have a brother, you're supposed to be supportive, man. That's the Benavides brothers are close. Like you're supposed to. Come on, that's your brother. For
God's sake. I mean, the Vargas brothers are really close.
Yeah. I'm really happy, but although when I see them, I feel really old. I feel really old.
Well, check this out. When Fernando fought against Javier Castillo in Chicago, I met him a couple of times. I was what was I was gonna say old school boxing. No, the website, Prize Fight News.
Yeah.
Remember that with Wu Base and them dudes?
You just unlock some memories real quick.
So I interviewed him and stuff. And the second time he came, it was the week, the final press conference, fight week, and he had his 2 kids, and I took my kid, and they were all about the same age, and I got a picture with them, and they all have their fists up.
Wow.
And so I found that picture. I said, "Look, this kid you're standing next to, he's fighting Saturday night."
Wow. That's damn, man. I'm telling you, man, it makes you feel old. And you have a son who's like basically a man now. You know what I mean? Like, so by the time I get there, I'm gonna be like, God, I'm like 1,000, man. Oh, Jesus. It's crazy because you mean Ricky Hatton's son fights. Like, it's just nuts to see, like, God damn, man. We're getting to a place. We're gonna be talking about fights where our kids are gonna think we're like, like the black and white film days. They're gonna think we're so old.
At least there's video of the fights we got to see.
Right. Be like the 80s. Oh my God, 83. Like, come on, man.
Well, so last week, I don't know if you saw Trav and I, we watched the Castillo Mayweather fight.
Oh, okay. I think I saw that you guys were going to break it down. I didn't see.
We scored it round by round.
Okay.
And I think Trav and I came out with the same score, 114-112 for Castillo.
Okay.
Although we did differ on 2 rounds.
Yeah.
I think it was like round 5 and round 10. But we came up with the same score. Do you remember that fight? Do you remember watching it? I mean,
so yeah, and I didn't score it at the time. I kind of felt like whenever you have a guy who's like been really dominant for a good stretch, you almost start to give, you know what I mean? If there's a swing round or a round that's really close, you almost start to feel like you want to find a way to give the other guy a round. You know what I mean? It's almost to try to counteract what might be a natural bias for the guy who's been so dominant. You know what I mean? But it just depends on the style of judging. Like, I felt like Floyd still had good, clean shots and whatnot. It was tighter than I think he slept on Castillo. He didn't expect him to be that tough. But I wasn't upset. I remember I wasn't upset with the decision. I I do prefer counter fighters, and I do prefer defense. Like that's my own. That's my thing too. So like I'm biased in that way. Not to steal your name, but I'm biased. I'm biased in that way. But I mean, it gave us an immediate rematch. So I wasn't mad about that. That part I was cool with, and I think he separated himself the second time.
So watching it live when it was over, I felt like Castillo won.
Okay.
And then scoring it round by round. When Trav scored a round for Castillo, and I scored it for Floyd, I didn't really remember. That was like I said, I think it was round 5 when we differed. The first 4 rounds we agreed on.
Okay.
And I didn't remember how the action went later in the fight. So I'm like, damn, now I gave a round to Floyd. If I have Floyd winning this fight at the end, I'd be like, damn, I've been wrong all these years.
This whole time.
You know what I'm saying? I was worried, bro. But as we went round by round, I came out with Castillo. But for a little while, I was worried I was gonna have Floyd ahead.
I should watch that again because it's been a long time. That's one I haven't watched in a minute. A matter of fact,
it was a decent fight for me. Like there's fights where if I'm bored, you know what? Let me just watch this for 20 minutes or whatever. That's never a fight. I thought, I gotta watch that again.
Right. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I probably have only seen that fight maybe twice in my whole life. You know what I mean? Like usually we used to watch the night of, and then my homeboy Rick would come over and we do what we call the sober review the next month. You know what I'm saying? So we'll make some food and just watch it, like just us two. And a lot of times I would like to watch fights through the not through the eyes of, but sometimes I'll pay attention to the other guy. Like sometimes when you're watching fights, you can't help if there's somebody you really like say you're watching a Roy Jones fight, I'd be watching Roy most of the time. I'm not going to really be watching David Telesco. But if I watch it again, I might try to watch it from David Telesco's point of view and concentrate on him. And because sometimes you can lose what another guy's doing in favor of the house guy, the popular guy, or the guy that you like. So I probably should watch that one again. It's been a long time. I've only seen it twice.
So I was talking to the guys from I don't know if it was CompuBox, but it was like when the punch counts first started coming out. There was a fight on ESPN in Chicago, and I was talking to the guys, and I was like, "Are you guys able to like judge the fight? Not judge it like score it, but like, do you have a good idea of who won the fight when it's over?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I watch one guy's punches, and he watches the other guy's punches.
Oh, wow.
So I'm watching my guy, and I know if he's getting hit and not landing." Well, I know he lost.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
It's a weird thing to because I feel like I wouldn't be able to concentrate on the fight if I had that job. Like if I'm just like because in order to be accurate, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm listing those punches. That would be hard to even enjoy it at all. Like if you're officiating, say you're like a referee, it would be hard to enjoy the fight because then you're going to stop doing your job. Like you can't be. What's the one guy that gets so excited
with the eyes and yeah. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's probably my favorite ref.
Last name Willis.
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm surprised he even remembers to do his job because he's like,
damn.
Right. At least he's a boxing fan. He enjoys himself. Shit, man. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Is there anything else? What's the next lined up big affair? Do we have anything besides? I mean, Boots Ennis is this weekend. Is there anything looming on the horizon that I'm not thinking of? Is it? Hold up, let me see. Not Inoue. Somebody was talking about is Inoue getting anything scheduled? I thought I saw something where they're trying to nail down a fight date for him.
I didn't see that. I'm not aware of any big fights on the horizon.
Yeah, because August is usually
I just know we're in July, so they're gonna be announcing Canelo pretty soon for September.
Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not buying Berlanga. I'm not buying that, and I don't. I'm not. I mean, because I already know what that is. That's
right.
There's no chance of an upset like that. There's no point in doing it. There's no point. I mean, I don't want
So
to take the money out of the young
who-
brother's hands, but come on, we already know what this is. Like, that's not.
so that my question is, who's the last guy Canelo fought where it was really a question who was gonna win? Take Bevo out because he was. I think most people thought Canelo was gonna win.
Probably Triple G, and not the third one. I mean,
Yeah,
like the
well,
second
definitely
fight.
not the third one.
Yeah. Probably the
Yeah,
second,
that's true.
the second Golovkin fight. Because I mean, I thought people might have thought it would be interesting with Caleb Plant, but I don't think anybody thought he was going to win that fight. The Charlo stuff happened too late in the game, like that, and he's coming up 2 divisions. I don't think anybody thought he was really going to do that.
Right.
I mean, I myself
That's
thought.
that's my point. Like
Yeah.
who is he fighting? Like, is he really being challenged?
And that's the thing, is he's made a career of picking guys at the right times or wrong times, depending. And he's got a pass for it. He doesn't get any backlash, really, or not enough that changes anything. Look, you got some guys that, and I've talked to some older heads, some older Mexican brothers, and not the young guys, where they're not like, these are guys that came up watching Morales and watching Chavez and watching, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. It's like so they're not as easily drawn in by what Canelo's been doing. And I don't, man. I wanted to like this guy so much, but like you said, we can't even name the last. What year was that? What's the year? I'd have to Google what year it was when he fought the second Golovkin fight. That's been a long time.
It was in the teens, man. It was like
It's been a
18, 18
while.
maybe 19.
Come on, man. I mean, look, I have no problem if a guy fights a hard fight, then a soft fight, then a hard fight, then a soft fight. I'm fine with it.
Right.
At least you're doing it. You know, every night doesn't have to be against a killer. But
Right.
you can't go 5, 6, 7 years of
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's like the American.
It's like he is. Now that we're talking about it, it's like, man, I fought Golovkin twice. I don't have to fight nobody for the rest of my life.
Ever. Well, and look, I'm all right with that, but then retire. I'm fine with that. Just call it a day. Do one more fight in like Guadalajara or something, or, you know, just to be like, you know, shout out to everybody and call it a fucking day then. You don't have to fight anymore. You could play, you can put your pink pants on and you can go play as much golf as you want to. Fine. No problem, man. But just don't hijack the belts. I think it's unfair that we are missing a classic like Benavidez. I said a few years ago he probably could have beat Benavidez, but you're letting David get too. David's now it's too much of a problem, and you're getting too old. Now I don't think I don't think he has a snowball's chance in hell now. That's just me saying it. I could be wrong.
They talk about Canelo has injuries and, you know, shoulder and back or whatnot. And
hey, call it a day. Call it a day. Right. I mean, he's never going to fight him. I'm gonna just put that. I'm gonna just say that now. That's never going to happen. Benavidez, that's never going to happen. And
he'll fight him if Benavidez gets knocked out.
Right.
Then he'll fight Benavidez.
That's so. You know what? It makes me appreciate, because at the time I was not a Tito Trinidad fan. My best friend was a Tito guy and I was an Oscar guy. But when you look back at guys that you didn't like I didn't necessarily like Holyfield either, but they fought everybody though, man. They weren't scared to do it. I don't understand. Look, we can talk about Oscar's fishnets and Oscar's weird behavior, but Oscar fought. That's the only reason I know who Oscar De La Hoya is because he fought. I don't know him for his nightlife. I don't know what the hell he does in a hotel. I don't know. That's not why I know him. I think it's kind of night and day when you compare the willingness to fight guys. Like Tito and him fought in their primes. That wasn't, they weren't washed up. It didn't take years and people dumping belts and all that for those guys to fight. Now they should have fought a rematch and they didn't, but they fought. They fought. I don't know. I will not be watching this Berlanga thing. And I don't think I would watch the Eubank Jr. fight either. I'm just not interested, man. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. Why? I'm going to pay $70 for that? I already know 80, what it is.
80 if you get the HD.
And see, I can't do it. I'm
you
hoping
need the HD feed.
Yeah, I'm hoping he'll surprise us and do something better, but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, and I'm just I'll save my money for somebody who really wants to do a thing. You know, I'm more interested in seeing AJ versus Dubois than I am. Seriously, like I wholeheartedly mean that because AJ may get knocked out. It's still exciting. Something could happen there. Nothing's going to happen but Berlanga get whooped. I'm sorry, and I like Berlanga. He's a good. I think he looks like a nice kid and all that, and I want him to get the payday. But this could also mess up his career if he takes a bad whooping. That's now what? He's young,
right?
So I don't. It's disheartening, man. It's disheartening, brother. But we'll be there for the fights. I mean, I love the fights. I miss HBO and Showtime regular boxing because any of these fights, if this was Canelo versus Berlanga on Showtime after dark, boxing after dark or whatever, HBO, fine. But you're asking me to pay almost $100,
right,
to see something I already know is going to happen. That's not fair. You know, we complained about Roy Jones fighting guys that maybe people didn't like a David Telesco. But man, look, we were watching HBO.
Yeah,
I'm cool with. Look, man,
you didn't have to pay. You didn't have to pay extra. You were already paying for HBO.
Right. So those are the kind of fights that it's okay for us. But if everything's going to be pay-per-view now, then we got to see. We need the real stuff. We need the real goods, man. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I will check with y'all and see what happened, or I'll just look at the highlights the next day. But I don't see how, unless folks come over and they want to put up. I'm not paying $80 myself.
Right.
That's not.
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
I will not do that, man.
I was going to say earlier. I was thinking of this because you were talking about big fights.
Yeah.
It used to be at least once or maybe twice a year. I'd have anywhere from 30 to 50 people here at my house.
Yeah.
It would be fight night. I'd cook out. We throw bags during the day, and then at night we come inside. We watch the fight.
Right.
I haven't had that in like 5 years.
It's been a while now. Okay, I did have a pretty good crowd over for Spence and Crawford. There was a pretty good crowd over for that. And, that was a bad night for me. Everybody else seemed to have a good night. I did not have a good night that night. But I think it's a multitude of things. And honestly, it really, to me, in my mind, I think the economy has a lot more to do with it than the waning popularity. Now, these guys ain't helping boxing either.
Yeah.
Like Tank at least is one of those guys that will get people. Matter of fact, I had plenty of people over to watch Tank fight Rolly also. Like a lot of people came over for that. I think a lot of people will watch the Lomachenko thing. I think that'll be a big affair.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
and if anybody's questioning my count of people, the big TV's in the basement.
Yeah.
And one night I had so many people here, I had to watch from the stairs. There were no more chairs available.
I've had that happen, though. We used to, when I still lived in Montgomery County, where I knew a lot more people down there. We used to put a big white sheet on the side of the house and use a projector screen because the backyard will just be full. When we watched Floyd versus Gotti, the backyard was full. It was just a full. The police came to break up the fight, and they came. I mean, to break up the party, and they
started watching,
and they stayed and watched. Yeah, they stayed and watched the fight because I guess somebody was complaining about the noise. We weren't even blasting music; it's just speakers for the fight. But
right.
I think it's there's just gonna have to be that lightning in a bottle kind of fighter who's also willing to make good fights, and those fighters are gonna need an opponent that's also it's like two trains headed on the same. Where's my motherfucking fingers here? But anyway, two. I
know what you're saying.
Yeah, you need that like sort of collision course kind of thing, and I thought Canelo had that. Canelo had that a few different times. He could have created those kinds of trilogies. There may be some of these young bucks might be willing to do it. Carmel, was it Moten? He looks like he might be like another Tank-esque kind of guy. We're going to need somebody exciting who's got their shit together, that's willing to do it.
Yep.
It's unfortunate, man, because I watch all of it, but damn, man, come on, guys, get in the ring. You're getting millions and millions of dollars. Like Canelo could. Let me see. let's just say he's getting $30 million. He could have bought my house. I can't even do the math for how many times he could have bought my house for one paycheck. For one paycheck. You should be willing to fight a man. I don't understand it, brother. I don't get it, but
Yeah,
we will see.
I think like his desire to be great is almost non-existent anymore.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's
Like
when you're allowed
maybe
to
he feels
just,
like he has nothing to prove.
and
There's
that's when
guys out there.
stop taking my money then.
Yeah,
Like if you're good, then that's like if your wife has decided, you know what, I've given my best years to this relationship, I no longer want to sleep with you, and well, let's get divorced then. Let's just call it a day. There's no point if he's got nothing left to prove. There's no one else to fight. Fine, then stop.
deuces,
Right,
right?
and let us all move on because he's got us all captive. It's not just the belts; he's got us all. And I mean,
Yeah, and then he takes the best dates. He got May and September.
to do nothing with him.
Right.
Come on, man. Look, I'm hoping. I'm gonna pray to the boxing gods now that I hope something better than Berlanga happens in September. But it doesn't look good, brother.
We'll see. But we've gone over an hour, so we need to wrap this up.
Yeah,
But
man.
I appreciate you coming on. It's always great chopping it up with you, my brother.
For sure, man. For sure. Anytime. I love it.
You know, it's summertime. Not a lot going on in sports. You know, baseball. Who really wants to talk about baseball?
Yeah.
You know, you got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but we can only talk about that so much.
Right.
We might do. We did the top 10 basketball players of all time.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell Trav, let's do top 10 boxers of all time.
Let's do it. That'll be
get
fun.
a panel, and of course you'll be on there.
That'll be fun, man. Yeah, look, I appreciate y'all having me. Any and every time, I'm always ready to jump on this thing, man. I have a great time, and I'll definitely be down for that show. So let me know, brother, and I'll be there.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us today. Deuces.